my phone was turned off. I was watching the Blue Jays on television, and the phone expired. And when I went to bed, I didn't bother to plug it back in again. I knew that the Nobel was going to be announced the next day, but I was also quite confident that I wouldn't be getting the call. So by the time a journalist managed to somehow get through my wife's do not disturb, and she got the call, the prize had already been announced to the world at large. They'd already had their press conference in Stockholm, and it was another half an hour or so before they finally managed to reach me. At first, I thought this must be a practical joke because I have heard about similar practical jokes being played on people who've been waiting for the call for years. Uh, but she soon managed to persuade me that this was for real. And I looked at my phone and saw lots of other congratulations coming in. Uh, so I was just completely in a state of shock. I was not a particularly good student in high school. I was rather a rather badly behaved teenager. But a friend of my father's who owned a wool brokerage in Guelph, Ontario, importing wool from around the world and selling it to textile mills in Ontario and Quebec, took me under his wing and acted as a kind of mentor, offering me a job in his small office in Guelph after school and on weekends. I used to be fascinated by how the prices that would come in on his teletype machine would go up and down. Prices coming from South America, from South Africa, from Australia, from all over the world, and for different types of wool. And I remember asking him, why are they bouncing up and down? He started talking about supply and demand, and it sounded fascinating to me. And suggested, well, if I'm really curious about this, I should go study economics. It turned out that McGill looked like a really good place to do that. When I finished high school, off I came, and I signed up for the program, the honors program in economics and political science. It was a great experience for me. By the time I was finished, I was really head over heels in love with economics. And the idea is very simply that ultimately economic growth is driven by new technologies that arrive and uh, provide us with new products, new methods of production, uh, and new ideas uh, that allow us to get more out of nature, allow us to have more wealth, more health. But every time a new technology arrives, it's going to have a major impact. It typically renders old technologies obsolete. And there are a lot of people whose livelihoods depend on those old technologies, people who have learned to operate machines that use those old technologies that are now no longer worthwhile, people who have learned various other skills in school or through experience uh, that are now no longer going to be very valuable because they've been replaced by the new technologies. There are always skills and kinds of capital and investments and opportunities that are destroyed by the same technologies that are really enhancing economic life and providing great new opportunities and new wealth for vast numbers of others. This so this has been recognized for a long time, and what Aguin and I managed to do was to capture this force, which we think is really at the heart of economic growth, this conflict that must be resolved for growth to take place without just degenerating into a mutually destructive conflict. Uh, we found a way to model it in a mathematically coherent way so that we could go out and estimate the various forces that are at work, see how they play against each other, see what, according to a well estimated model, different policies might make. Most policies have positive effects on growth and negative effects on growth, and we're able to quantify those with a well specified mathematical model. So that's really what we did, was to take some old ideas and make them tractable. It's long been recognized that some of the biggest disruptive effects come from what we call general purpose technologies. And of course, that's what AI is. We've had lots of general purpose technologies in the past, and they have brought with them positive and negative effects. Of course, the IT revolution of the 20th century was very much a general purpose technology, which altered the way Uh, we do things in just about every sector of the economy. It's important to realize that all technologies have to be regulated in some way or another. These new technologies have huge effects of creating gains and losses, because there is that potential. If we just let all of the gains from this new technology accrue to the one or two firms that end up being the leader of this industry and let them control everything, uh, there's going to be a lot of division in society, and there's going to be a lot of opposition to these new technologies. It's going to manage to block it through various means, including through the political process. And so I think um, we have to be open to ways in which we can channel these new technologies in directions that spread the benefits around.